Dr. Rima, you are live.
Welcome to the Dr. Rima Truth Reports. My name is Rima Ilebo, MD. I am the Medical Director of the Natural Solutions Foundation, www.drrimatruthreports, D-R-R-I-M-A, truthreports.com. With me, as always, my co-host and co-trustee, Ralph Fusatola, JD. Ralph, we have an extraordinary show this evening. We have two people who bring unique and very important and very different perspectives to the show. Now, usually we start with the health freedom news of the week. And this week we're not going to do that. We'll get to the health freedom news of the week in the second hour, when we're talking with Keith Muller about Ebola and silver and the truth as opposed to the FDA. And we will have a lot to talk about. But right now, I'd like you to say hello, and then I'd like you to introduce our first hour guest, and let's get going.
All right, Dr. Rima. Good evening, folks. It is a very stormy evening here in northwest New Jersey. We had the power off a little bit. In fact, Dr. Rima and I were on a conference call with some people from West Africa a couple of hours ago, and the power went off here, but I think we're going to be all right, and I'm looking forward to a really interesting program. Gary Franchi is one of the most powerful voices in the Patriot Freedom Movement. In the let's say libertarian end of the Patriot Freedom Movement. He is an individual who has been deeply involved in Dr. Ron Paul's campaigns and his various activities and organizations, and he's been a major thorn in the side of a bunch of bureaucrats who deserve many thorns in the side. Gary Franchi's organization, rtr.org. For those of you who are seeing the podcast, I'll put up the actual image of the website there, and I'm so happy to welcome Gary Franchi. Come on aboard.
Hey. All right, thanks for having me.
Well, it's a pleasure. Actually, this is the third time we've tried. Once you had a personal thing happen, and last week a conflict came up. So this is one of those third times a charm kind of deals, and we're really, really pleased to have you. We talk about health, we talk about freedom, and we talk about our basic right to information and to a non-toxic world that's used to get rid of us. I was recently on your show about Ebola. What are you focusing on right now? You have an equally broad range of topics that concern you. What's on your the top of your hit parade about things we ought to be focusing on right now?
Well, first of all, thanks again for having me on the program, and I'm glad the stars finally aligned, and I'm here to join you. And yes, you were on my program. In fact, we're doing a rebroadcast of that interview this evening. It's going to run 4 times today. So, in fact, the station owner of the TV station that I'm on was actually very thrilled with the interview. He was excited to learn more about the nano silver and how it can repel the Ebola virus and other types of viruses that are known. So he was really excited for that interview, so we decided we'd run it again, get some more exposure on the topic, because, we know the FDA just came out like, oh, no, don't listen to anybody else. We're the only voice that you should listen to. So, if we can put out a message to give the American people some other options rather than the government-sponsored line that's always out there, that's what I really want to focus on, and that's what I'm driven to do. And currently, my big promotional project right now is we're promoting real gold money as an alternative currency solution to the Federal Reserve note. I've gotten involved with a company called Karatbars International. That company is now producing an alternative money that can be used at participating merchants, and it's actually a gold gram cards that are embedded in plastic credit cards. They can be used anywhere that is part of the barter system, and the company is also designed to help people acquire gold in small amounts. People who couldn't normally buy gold in large amounts because gold is expensive. I mean, let's be honest. So they have a program in place where you can buy a gram of gold a week, and you can help refer friends, and you can actually earn some pretty nice commissions in the process too. So there's a lot of benefits to the program that I'm working with right now, and I see it as really a catch-all solution for a lot of the issues of the day. I've been fighting the Federal Reserve for many years, even since my early days with Aaron Russo from Freedom to Fascism,
Right.
As well as Ed Griffin, the preacher from Jekyll Island. These folks, we've been out in the streets protesting the Federal Reserve System in the United States, the central banking elite, and the destruction that they're doing to the American economy. So when I found this solution as a means for an alternative barter system, an alternative money solution based on real gold money and not on fiat paper, I immediately jumped on board. And I'm glad to
Gary,
be
this
part
is
of it.
very interesting. So you're saying it's a card that has a gram of gold embedded in it, and
Yes,
so therefore it
it
would
has
trade at a gram's worth of at a gram's relationship to the euro or the dollar or whatever.
exactly. It's a credit card size holder.
Got it.
And so, if, like for example, if you're a business owner and you are signed up as a merchant to use the system,
Mm-hmm.
the company has a buy and a sell price.
Got it.
So whatever the company's buy price is for the day, you can go ahead and accept the gold back at the buy price. And they also give you some room to compete with other merchants who are also selling in the same space. So it creates like sort of an internal competition for other merchants who want to buy and sell with gold.
Very interesting. Yeah,
Yeah,
I like that.
no,
From the days of the National Committee to Re-Legalize Gold, I've been very interested in this issue. And in 2007, at the End the Fed demonstrations, the one in New York, I had an opportunity to deliver a statement from General Bert Stubblebine, the president of our foundation, calling for honest money. And I think you can't get any more honest than gold. Or as J.P. Morgan once said, gold is money. All else is credit.
yeah, absolutely.
Now,
So
how would it work?
yeah.
Let's say I have a credit card with a gram of gold, and I paid at today's prices how much for it, Gary?
Uh, well, it depends. Like the company has a buy. I'm not looking at the price of gold currently right now, so I can't tell you. Um, but the way that it works is if you have the card that has the gold in it, whatever the gold is trading for that day, you would go to the merchant, the participating merchant, or somebody who's going to be, uh, you know, at a garage sale, for example, and you want to go and hand them this card with gold in it, then you could get whatever they're willing to give you for that gold.
But
It creates the honest exchange system.
today the spot price of gold is about $45 a gram.
Yes.
And gold is low. It's below. It's at 12.75 or something like that. So Dr. Ema, it would be. It is a single one. A single card is a significant little piece of money.
Yeah, and they also have what's nice too is they have different denominations. They got a 1 gram card, a 2.5 gram card, and a 5 gram card.
Mm-hmm.
So so you can have different sizes and different types. But the company's this is what's really neat. The company's also working on a way for you to use a smartphone. So, for example, I've got an account with Karatbars International. I have gold in their vault, and Rima, let's say you have some gold in their vault too. You're also an affiliate with the company. Now, you and I have gold in the same vault. Well, the company's actually working on behind the scenes a system where I can go ahead and trade gold on my account into your account, and it just simply transfers that gold onto your balance sheet from mine. And now you and I can exchange goods or services for that gold that's just been transferred electronically. Haha.
Aha. And how do we make change? Because I'm at the garage sale, and I see this nifty blouse that I want to buy, and it's not $45; it's $20. So how do we make change, or how does the person who's selling me the blouse make change?
Well, they'd either give you change in worthless paper, or you try to find something else so that you can get your full value for the gold. That would probably be the wisest solution, I would think.
So it's a kind of facilitated barter, is what we're
Yes.
talking about, yeah?
Essentially, yeah.
How very interesting. And the folks who think they run the system are happy with this on a legal basis?
Well,
Yeah, tell us about how this compares to the Liberty Dollar.
I'm sorry?
How does this compare to, was it the Liberty Dollar?
Well, Liberty Dollar is another medium of exchange that people have used in the past. Only difference is this is gold in a credit card size holder. It's not a coin shaped item.
Yep.
It falls under the international bullion laws as opposed to coinage laws, which some people might confuse Liberty dollars to fall under, and that's one of the reasons why they didn't choose to develop this thing in the shape of a coin, because it is a small bullion shaped piece of gold. It falls into the bullion exchange laws.
Interesting. Does each card have a unique identifier number on it or anything like that?
Yes, every card has a serial number, hologram, certificate of authenticity.
Nice. Okay.
And the company's based in Stuttgart, Germany. So, and interesting thing too is that if you are an affiliate of the company and you do refer people, the company pays out the commissions in euros on an international debit card. And it's completely outside of the internet. It's outside of the United States, so it operates in the EU.
And this is an affiliate program where people can join an affiliation.
Yes, they have an affiliate program too. They have a really nice commission structure. I've been pretty successful with it, and I've signed up quite a few people who are using it, who are saving gold, who are getting gold as a not just a medium of exchange, but they're actually creating their own gold bullion savings account. They're taking back they're repegging the dollar to gold by trading their fiat paper for gold in a gold bullion savings account. So while the fiat dollar keeps collapsing and keeps going down, the gold is you're repegging the dollar to gold in a vault. You can take the gold on delivery at any time in the form of the credit card size holders, or you can keep it in the vault and wait for the smartphone application to go online.
Right, those smartphone applications allow you basically to use your smartphone as a way of transferring funds. There are a number of those out there. One of them that I know about is called Straight Pay, and it seems to be pretty good. So there are some good developments going on. That's really interesting that we can repeg the dollar to gold. I like that.
And to go back to Rima's question about how you would make change, if you're using the smartphone app, you could actually denominate in fractions of a gram.
But then you don't actually possess the gold. That gold is stored somewhere else.
It's stored in a private vault.
Yep, I understand.
Private vault in the company. And you can press a button, have all your gold delivered to your house or wherever you want. I understand. And whenever you need to.
Small amount of gold being held for that transfer, to be able to transfer it around with the smartphone. That's a very good idea. I like this. These are the sort of creative approaches that will allow people to live freer in what seems to be an increasingly unfree world. But you were telling us in the beginning that you see the Ebola issue and similar issues. I don't know if Dr. Rima discussed with you what we see as one of the central organizations in increasing the control over all of us, and that is something called the Global Health Security Initiative. I'm not sure if you've come across that.
No, we really did not talk about it. And this is massively important for for figuring out how to live free. The first thing you need to know
is how to live.
That the globalists would rather that you live dead under the guise of protecting you from infectious diseases. They've figured out that their rationale works best if the people who might get infectious diseases are dead. And so they have something called the Global Health Security, that word security, initiative. And the Global Health Security Initiative is a bunch of NGOs like the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation and the Open Society Foundation, Foundation of Soros, and the Rockefeller Foundation and the Club of Rome and the Department of Health and Human Services, and a bunch of other bad actors like the WHO. And they've gotten together to protect you from infectious diseases by inoculating you, isolating you, separating you, treating you, and taking over the entire world in order to limit the number or reduce the number of vectors, that's people who spread a disease, and victims, that's people who get a disease, and prevent them from having children because they're dead, so that there can be fewer vectors and victims. And they would rather that you not have gold. They would rather that you
Not
not
have
have
children.
they would rather that you not have space on the planet.
Right.
And one of the things that they will use is economic controls to compel you to do what they want. So this is a very interesting anti-economic control option. But
Yes.
how about the legality? What does the system say about all this?
Well, we have a series of videos at realgoldmoney.com that people can go and watch. It starts out with me talking with G. Edward Griffin in his living room about these cards and how they can be used as a medium of exchange. And then it goes into two other videos that go into great detail about the program itself and how you can use it and how you can acquire gold. The system, the way that this system works is it dovetails nicely into the existing economic structure. It's not designed to compete with existing fiat currencies. It's designed to more or less complement it. And the reason being is that Karatbars International, they don't want to be a threat to the system and then the system come and shut them down. They want to be able to complement and give and make the system work more fluidly through sound money exchanges. And that's simply how the system plugs into existing merchants and that type of thing. It's not designed to be to compete. It's designed to work in tandem and parallel with, so that people can continue economic movement. So there's the powers that be, the globalists, of course they would rather us all use fiat money and fiat paper and and devalue the dollar. That's what they want to do. But I think that as it stands today, there's no legal issues that prevent individuals from purchasing gold for themselves and then using that as a medium of exchange. So there's absolutely no legal issue.
And indeed, gold clauses in contracts, if the gold clause was made after 1977, if the contract was made after 1977, are now legal and enforceable, although the courts will only enforce them at the price of gold at the time of breach.
So let's say I want to buy an airline ticket with my cards, and let's say that I have enough nano silver with me, so I'm not worried about getting Ebola on the airplane or thereafter, which is a good thing to have, which everybody should have, by the way. Now, how would I implement this trade?
Well, first of all, the person who's selling you the airline ticket would have to be a participating merchant. So if that person is maybe a small charter airline or a private charter airline, and they are a participating Karatbars K exchange or a merchant, then you're also an affiliate that is holding gold Karatbars, then you could facilitate that exchange. Now, until large corporations like United or Delta or American Airlines decide to jump on board the gold bandwagon, then you would have to find a private company, because right now, as far as I'm aware, those large corporations do not accept gold as a medium of exchange. They accept the worthless paper gladly, but they're not currently accepting gold as far as I know.
And so this would be done electronically rather than with my plastic cards if I had, let's say, a charter company that was willing to fly me to wherever I wanted to go.
Well, the electronic means of the gold transfer has not been fully implemented yet. I know they're still testing it. They're still working on it. It hasn't even been deployed. So currently, you would physically have to take, if you're going to buy, a $250 plane ticket, you would take several of your Graham cards to the participating pilot who's in the K exchange barter merchant system for Karatbars. You'd hand him the gold cards with the grams in them, and he would put you on a plane and he'd take you where you want to go, so long as he's accepting gold as value.
And who invented the system? How long has it been working, and how did you get involved?
The gentleman's name, I forget his name now, forgive me, but I've only been involved since April. I learned about the company about 4 years ago when they were just getting started. They didn't have much of the infrastructure established here in the United States. But I got fully involved and fully plugged into the company in April. And so I have been able to network effectively, bring a bunch of people into the system, help them establish gold savings accounts. And between you, me, and the NSA listening, and all the podcast people listening, I'll share with you that I've actually been able to earn more commissions than I've actually purchased gold on a weekly basis. So the gold I'm securing, this is the beautiful part of it. The gold I'm securing through Karatbars is virtually free because my commissions have overtaken the amount of money I've put to buy the gold. So I'm basically on autopilot, generating commissions and gold at no charge, at no cost to me, no out of pocket.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. How does somebody get involved? How do they sign up? What are their costs?
Well, if you wanted to get plugged in, anyone who wants to get plugged in, you just go to realgoldmoney.com, and you'd find a series of links right there on the front page of the site. You just follow through the videos. Or you can go to realgoldmoney.com/start. I believe it's realgoldmoney.com/start-saving-today. And that'll take you right to the registration page. They have different affiliate packages, and the different packages bring you into the company based on your level of marketing. So if you just want to get in, test the waters, it's like 99 euros, and you establish yourself with a 5% commission. And then there's also bonuses that they give you based on how much volume that you're able to generate through different referrals. That's the bronze package, the silver package, there's a gold package, a VIP package. And each package is designed for the different intensity of the marketer. I'm at the VIP level, which was $2,200 buy-in. I got several grams of gold with that. I have a 20% commission on any people I enroll. Plus, I get 80 euros every time I have a bonus that based on the volume of my left sales team and my right sales team. So there's a whole scale of commissions and bonuses that the company uses to incentivize the affiliate program. Very lucrative for people who know how to connect with folks and who just want to share another way for you to create a meaningful exchange, but also a way to save and trade your fiat paper to establish a gold bullion savings account if you can't afford it. A lot of people, like I said at the beginning, they can't afford gold. It's just too expensive. It's out of people's reach. So this company has basically brought it down to bite-sized level so you can buy gold.
How a lot of people are interested in currencies like Bitcoin. And I'm sure that you've looked at and know a lot about Bitcoin. I would expect that. So how does this currency compare with a currency like Bitcoin?
Well, Bitcoin is really a wonderful medium of exchange in its own right. The only problem I see is that if there's a solar flare that wipes out the entire global infrastructure of electronics and takes us back to the Stone Ages, your Bitcoin's not really going to be worth the zeros and ones that are printed into the air that it's on. That's the unfortunate downfall of Bitcoin. And truth be told, I mean, we're long overdue for another Carrington level solar flare event. We're long overdue. So, in the old-fashioned way, look, gold has always been a steady and constant store of value. It's been used for millennia. People know it, respect it, and use it every day. So there's the difference. Gold has been around for thousands and thousands of years, and it will survive an EMP or a solar flare attack from the sun. Bitcoins, nah, not so much. But I think Bitcoin does serve a purpose right now. I have some Bitcoin. I'm holding it. I'm not spending it because I'm watching to see what will happen with it. But yeah, those are the two very, very distinct differences between Bitcoin and gold.
And yet the electronic exchange, the smartphone exchange, is dependent on the very same thing as Bitcoin.
Absolutely, it is. Yeah. And that's why it's important. So you take your gold on delivery. When I reach a certain amount of gold that I have in their vault, I pull it out. I don't need to have all my gold sitting in their vault in Germany. No need to.
And you actually receive from them the little cards with the gold embedded in it?
Absolutely. I carry some in my wallet. I show them off.
Some people have said that the new U.S. Paper currency seems to have a gold thread in it. Is there an attempt by the U.S. government to put some real backing behind its paper?
I doubt it.
I doubt it too, but
I really doubt it. Yeah, but I carry 3 grams of gold with me, pretty much wherever I go, and now the whole world knows, and I'm gonna get mugged.
Well, 3 grams is only about $150 at dollar prices. Not enough to mug anybody for. Or maybe it is enough to mug someone for. This has been very interesting. Yep. In looking at the website, I noticed a whole series of wonderful photos of meetings and events. Tell us a little bit about RTR and what you do.
Restore the Republic was the website that we created in the wake of America Freedom to Fascism. It was the film that Aaron Russo produced.
Fantastic movie.
Absolutely. It changed a lot of lives. And I mean, I believe if it wasn't for that film, we wouldn't be seeing a lot of the activity we see today, especially coming out of the Ron Paul camp and the Ron Paul campaign from 2008 and 2012. But RTR was designed and built in the wake of that film to harness a lot of the activity and energy of people who had seen the movie. Russo wanted to create a place where activists could come and communicate, collect information, share information, organize for action. It's gone through many different changes over the years based on demands, based on size and activity, and of course budget. And today in its current inception, it's essentially a social action website for patriots and for activists who want to connect and reach out to other people and share information. We've got hundreds of members on the website who are on the site dedicated every single day. It's a great portal for people to get the latest information from fellow patriots organically and outside of the whole Facebook experience. And it's not controlled by any, corporate conglomerates and privacy creeps. It's controlled by the people, for the people, and for patriots, by patriots.
How did you get started to become who you are doing what you're doing?
How did I get started? Well, I guess many, many years ago, I had looked up some information my mother had given me. She gave me a book. It was called Final Warning, and the book was about the end of days, essentially. And the author, Grant Jeffries was his name. And I read the book. I learned about the Council on Foreign Relations. I learned about the Club of Rome. I learned about the microchip implanting. I learned about all these different sort of end-time groups that were in place. And in searching about the microchip one day, I stumbled upon this guy shouting into a microphone in Texas. And his name was Alex Jones. And I learned about this gentleman. I learned about his ways and what he was talking about. And I realized that I was not alone in my quest for knowledge and information. Alex helped validate a lot of things I was learning at the time. And then through Alex, I learned about 9/11. I learned about what happened on that day through a lot of his films. And when I started to question the media and I started to question my elected officials because they wouldn't address some of the more pressing questions of that day, that's when I decided that something really needed to be done. So I formed a group because I couldn't find anybody who felt the same way that was around me. So I formed a group called the Lone Lantern Society, my first organization. And it was through the small grassroots work in that group that I met Aaron Russo when he was starting to promote his film America, Freedom to Fascism. And then when Russo, before Russo had passed, several months before he passed, he took a step back and said, "Gary, I want you to take over and start running my organizations, running my websites, and basically finish the work that needs to be done." So I took up his torch and started running with it. And then, of course, he passed away and never really got to see what happened, what I did with his websites, how we organized these Unfed rallies nationwide, how we came out and supported Ron Paul through the election, how we started the first super PAC in 2012 to support Ron Paul, broadcasting commercials throughout America on national television, getting picked up by NBC and having NBC broadcast our commercials just because we were addressing issues the campaign wouldn't touch. That's just a small sampling of some of the stuff I've done. The documentary films we've touched on, FEMA camps and the 10th Amendment and the power of the sheriff. These are all topics that we have continued to bring forward to the American people. Now I've got a TV show. I broadcast to 12 million households every single night on Comcast, DirecTV, and broadcast in Boston, downtown Boston, as well as.
And I was honored recently to be your guest talking about Ebola. But I really appreciated that very much.
Yeah, and our interview, the one we just did, is actually going to be airing in probably about, I don't know, actually I think it might be airing now because it's Eastern time. But so that's going to run a couple more times tonight before tomorrow, and we'll teach more people about different ways that you can treat and prevent yourself from the Ebola virus. Things that the FDA don't want you to know.
Excellent. So it's all smooth sailing and roses and chocolates, right?
I wish
well, CBD hemp oil chocolate, maybe.
CBD hemp oil chocolate, yeah, that's great stuff to make things easier. But what kind of snags, what kind of oppositions do you find? What roadblocks? What's making it harder rather than easier to get this out to every man, woman, and child on the planet who needs to hear this?
For me, it's always been the hardest thing. The biggest hurdle is not so much government getting in my way. It's always been money. It's always been an issue of funding and financing it and keeping it rolling along and keeping everything, keeping all the bills paid, keeping the internet paid, keeping the staff paid, and keeping the lights on. That's always really been the number one hurdle. Specifically, I can't say that enough. And then, of course, you have your trolls out there. They're always trying to, distract you, and you don't know who's government paid and who's not. But yeah, I think for me, it's always been an issue of trying to find proper solutions to get to make sure that you can continue to spread the message. I have a staff of I have writers, I have talent, I have editors, I have producers. We have a lot of technology infrastructure that needs to be supported. So, yeah, it's always been an issue of funding. So you're always doing fundraisers, and I don't like always having my hand out and asking for money. So I do try to find creative ways to raise money, and I'll go back to the carrot bars, realgoldmoney.com, because I find that to be a wonderful solution to provide sustainable um, long-term residual income, as well as providing a real solution to the monetary crisis we have today. So
your organization needs to think seriously, and I'm not being facetious about this in the least, about investing in our CBD, our organic CBD hemp project in Chile. We believe, and the projections, the most conservative projections, we believe that the good that it can do medically and the good that it can do financially, for instance, for an organization like yours or like ours, is enormous, because the uh, the productivity of the growing and the processing, and the fact that there really is no commercially available organic CBD hemp oil anywhere on the planet, makes this an enormously interesting opportunity. Maybe we should talk off air about this. And I am in no way being either lighthearted or frivolous in this comment, Gary.
Dr.
no,
Rima
I've
considers.
heard of it.
Dr. Rima has called CBD hemp the holy grail of natural health, and for many good reasons, I think she may be right about that. But go ahead. I'm sorry, I interrupted you, so please go back.
And the interesting thing is when you combine it with nano silver,
right,
you eliminate pretty much, I would guess 95% of the drugs out there on the market.
Wow,
that's pretty cool.
I'd say so. I mean, I've had quite a few guests on my program who have spoken about CBD and the benefits of hemp oil in a CBD formula, especially the cancer fighting ability. Ty Bollinger has been a guest. He's spoken about it. Robert Scott Bell. Yeah, Robert Scott Bell has been a guest of the program as well, and he's talked to us about it. We've had representatives from different hemp companies, like Hemp Meds has been a guest of our program. They do a CBD oil. In fact, they gave my mother 12 tubes of CBD oil because my mother's actually going through cancer treatment. And we went to a conference here in Chicago because Illinois is about to open up to medical cannabis, and they had all the vendors there, and they were talking about CBD oil, and they had a lot of patients who were being treated by it, and it was miraculous. My mother was here, and she flew up from Chicago to spend some time with the family, but she learned a lot about the benefits of CBD oil, and met the folks from Hemp Meds, and they gave her 12 tubes, a lot. So they gave her a lot of CBD oil. So she's actually been taking it for about 30 or more days now, and she's going to go in for a test to see if her treatments are what her treatments are doing to the cancer, because she was doing regular chemo and it was just killing her. So
that's kind of what it's for.
Yeah, so she's taking a break from the chemo, and she's doing the CBD oil in conjunction with a lot of different holistic elements that she's been talking to Robert Scott Bell about and Ty Bollinger, and that's really good stuff. So yeah, CBD oil, I'm learning a lot about it, and I'm really anxious to see what kind of results my mom gets when she goes in for her test.
That's great. That really is. We are actually, we have an informal study in Ireland where we've chosen some patients, and I'm providing medical care and guidance for them over the internet, and they're taking CBD for their malignancies, and they seem to be doing very nicely. What they're not doing nicely on is what they promised up, down, and around that they would do, which is keep a daily diary. Yeah, right. They're not. But nonetheless, we're getting some very, very, very nice results.
Yeah, that's the same thing with my mother. You know, we want her to keep a daily diary, and she's good about that. You know, writing down side effects and issues that she may be having. But so far, I mean, we're gonna wait until we get some test results back before we can, um, you know, see what kind of impact it's had, and hopefully we'll have some positive news very soon.
Exactly. I think that's wonderful. Um, so, so your mom gave you a book, and you got started looking. How long ago was that?
I was only about 17 years old when I started reading that book, and that was back in, say, about 1995. And then there was a gentleman, Dr. Carl Sanders was his name, and he was a reverend also, and he was one of the people who helped design this small microchip. Back then, it was referred to as the BT95 2000. So I got connected with him and um, learned more about the microchip through Carl Sanders. And I think he actually had a radio show on GCN for a short amount of time too. I'm not sure if he still does, but yeah, that was about 1995. I was about 17.
Huh. And it obviously resonated with you. Do you have any insights? Because you deal with people all the time, you talk to them as we do, and you see that sometimes something you say sparks a light in somebody's being. They resonate with the reality or the truth of what you're saying, and they have to find out more, and they can't turn away from it. And sometimes the fluoride kicks in, and you get kind of nothing. Do you have any insights about when and why people respond or don't respond to the information that you're putting out, to the information, for instance, that we're putting out?
I think the level of programming that's being put out on the airwaves and standard television, cable, um, and what's coming out of Hollywood. Don't get me wrong, I love a good movie now and again, and I watch TV and I watch the news and you know like everybody else, but I can see through the program. Um, for people that have not had the veil lifted and the scales haven't dropped from their eyes yet, they are robotically being programmed to ignore and shut off anything that you say when you reach a certain point. It's not until you strike a chord, like you mentioned, you strike a chord with somebody when you're speaking to them, you do see that light bulb go off. And for different people, it's different things. I can never tell what it's going to be for somebody, but there is something that is happening, and it's the programming that I'm putting out directly combats the programming that's being put out by the mainstream media and the corporate controlled spoon-fed propaganda agents.
Absolutely, absolutely, it's doing. I'm sorry, I couldn't hear that last comment.
I didn't. I just said the corporate controlled spoon-fed propaganda agents are the ones who are, we're fighting, and it's like two beams of light that are like constantly in flux, pushing the other back, and they're fighting, and that's really what I feel like we're doing. We're a beam of light that's fighting and fighting and fighting, trying to pierce through this darkness that is being emitted from the other side.
I always ask people to remember that they should never underestimate the impact of fluoride. Not a minor feature here. People brush their teeth with it. It's in their water. It's sprayed on their food. Even organic food is treated in transit with 3,300 parts per million of fluoride. And it's there for a reason. And your teeth are not the reason. So
we have fluoride filters at our house here.
Excellent.
Good.
One of the important things that people need to do if they want to have a glimmer of reality and reality testing is what you just said. Get rid of the fluoride in your water. Get rid of the fluoride in your food. Get rid of the fluoride in your toothpaste. Get fluoride out of your brain, because with it there, you cannot think well and you cannot react well.
Mm. And we are going to have to all be at our best if we're going to be surviving what some have called the great culling. And we are 15 minutes, or actually really more like 10 minutes or so, before we come to our 1 hour break. And maybe Dr. Rima and Gary, maybe going into that subject, the great culling, might be a very interesting way to go forward.
Well, you probably heard me tell the story, or you know that I've had this conversation with a monarch who said it was time for the great culling of the useless eaters to begin. That was a pretty scary thing to hear. I thought she was completely insane, didn't know what she was talking about, but the resonance was struck, and I had to know more. And it turned out, yes, she was completely crazy, and yes, she was also telling me what the plan was, and that was to get rid of 90% of the useless eaters. And of course, Ebola comes to mind, doesn't it? Well, there is so much that is focused on the culling of the useless eaters. And I'd love to, I agree with Ralph, we'd love to get your perspective on this concept of depopulation and really, it's more than genocide. It's humanicide.
Well, I think if you want to start a conversation like that, you need to start directly with the Georgia Guidestones. And
Yes,
right
sir.
there on those Georgia Guidestones in multiple languages, it tells you exactly what their plan is to basically, I forget the exact number on the Georgia Guidestones, but it does say
500
yeah,
million.
yeah, keep the world's population under 500 million. I mean, that's just a ridiculous statement in its own right. I mean, you're talking there are, what, 6 billion, 7 billion people on the planet, and you want to get it under 500 million? I mean, please. There's only one way to do that, and that's through, atomic war and pestilences and plagues and starvation. I mean, it's a horrible. I mean, to get rid of that many people, oh my goodness. The whoever put that Georgia Guidestone together is a pretty sick individual.
Do you happen to know anything about who did that? I don't.
No, I've only seen the work like Mark Dice has done. I've seen the different documentaries that have been surrounding it. R.C. Christian is the guy's name who supposedly put it together. There is one man who's still alive who R.C. Christian went to, and he's sworn to his deathbed that he won't reveal the actual name of the person. So, unfortunately, we don't have much more information. They do. Many people believe R.C. Christian is sort of a shorthand for the Rosicrucian Society. That's a very strong possibility. I don't know if that is true or not, but anyone who would have the type of funding to put up a monolithic structure like that, who has a deep understanding of the esoteric construction as well as the lunar layouts and that type of thing, has understanding of secret knowledge. So when you go into the secret knowledge, you start going into the esoteric groups and the secret societies. That's when you start getting into the seedy underbelly of the global elite and the dark circles that they travel. So certainly the ideas that the depopulation program, we do know just based on the surface knowledge of the esoteric structure of the Guidestones themselves, that whoever designed it moves in those circles, and those circles are where the global elite we know travel in. I mean, you look at these different groups, the overt groups like the Council on Foreign Relations, Bilderberg, Royal Council for International Affairs, all these different groups are surface groups for the subgroups that are essentially the secret societies. So you could point all roads lead to Rome, as they say, and I think the Georgia Guidestones is a good starting point.
I agree. And It's very interesting. It's almost as if these people, I wouldn't call them the elite, I would call them the super sick. It's almost as if these people have a rule that they have to tell us what they're going to do. In movies, in books, in decks of cards, in monolithic monuments, they have to tell us what the plan is. And then if we can't stop them, well, it's all fair game. That's how it looks to me.
Yeah, I think they're boasting. I think they're boasting. I think that they put these things out there so that they can say, "Ha ha, we put it out there in plain view for everyone to see, and you did nothing, and then we're going to go ahead and do it, and there's nothing you can do to stop us." It's just, I think, a way for the devil to laugh in your face. But we know who gets the last laugh there. So
On your Skype photo, you have a perfectly exquisite child on top of your head.
yeah,
I assume that is your child.
yes, that's my little boy.
And so when you look forward, you look to the future for this little boy.
Mm-hmm.
What do you see? You know as well as anybody else what the deal is. You know what the game is, and you know what the stakes are. So what do you see when you look forward for this child?
Well, I just hope that the work I'm doing today will provide for a better world for him tomorrow. And um, my wife and I had great struggles to decide if we were going to have children, just based on the structure of the United States as it is today. With its mandated Social Security and Medicare and Obamacare and all this other stuff that they forced down your throat. The land of the free is no longer what it once was. And to bring a child up in that environment was something we had to just say, our love is stronger than any of this darkness, and we're going to bring a child into this world. And we know that the work that we do every day to broadcast a message of truth to the American people, 12 million households a night, we know and hope and pray that that is strong enough to allow my child and other people's children to have a brighter future. And that's all we can hope and pray for.
Do you ever get discouraged, Gary?
Do I get discouraged? Of course, I have my moments. I mean, when I look around and I see a constant barrage of bills and legislation and wars and I mean look, they just beheaded a journalist over there in Iraq. It's just like so sad to see these things. And then, of course, what's happening in Ferguson, you're seeing journalists being tear gassed and arrested. Cops are shooting, unarmed kids in the streets. The police are being militarized day by day with all the surplus coming out of the military. Yes, I get discouraged because I see all these things happening, and that's why I put my head down, I focus on what needs to be done, I focus on the work at hand, and that's broadcasting a message to America, and that is providing the infrastructure for activists to connect and communicate, and as well as to develop our own central reserve for gold personally in our own lives and families, so that when everything does collapse, we've got something there in our own family, and that's a little bit of gold to survive through whatever is ahead. And I think I do get discouraged, absolutely. But at the same time, I have to use that discouraged reality as an energy source to push forward, to fight, and to try to provide for a better world for not just my family, but for America at large.
Well said. Well said.
Indeed.
I think that's so important. People think that once they start to get discouraged, they can just sort of give up. And the answer is no. That's when you really begin to fight.
Yeah,
indeed. Wasn't it Ludwig von Mises's personal slogan? Never give in to evil, but proceed more boldly against it. And he says that, of course, that's in Latin. I know the English translation. You probably know the Latin version, Gary, but he lived in a time when it even seemed more desperate, if you will. I just recently read his memoirs, which cover 1907 to 1940, a period of time which was dark indeed, and got darker after that for a while. But we have to have some degree of hope and some degree of expectation that the general trend of the past several centuries has been towards greater freedom and greater prosperity. And that trend
Well,
is something we all need to support and continue.
absolutely, and I believe light will shine over darkness, and that's why even in the darkest hours we have to look up and we have to, you know, try to find that glimmer of light that we have been working towards and focus on that even in the midst of that darkness. So no matter what we do, we always have to fight for that and let that be our strength because it's easy to get discouraged, and here's the thing: even if you get discouraged and you give up, guess what? Now the powers that are holding you down are going to trample over you, and but now you still have the knowledge in your head of what is happening. You're still accountable to the reality that you now know. So it's almost like a double-edged sword when you give up, because now you've given up and you're accountable to the information you have. And if you do nothing with it, then all the people that you look around you every day, you are further enslaving them by your inactivity, and you know that. So it's up to us to be active individuals every day, find one thing to change and change it.
Thank you.